Good morning, everyone, and happy Monday and happy New Year. Welcome back to another Wake Up with YPN. I'm Kayla Fisher, your YPN co-chair, and today we're talking about errors and omissions insurance. All realtors are required to have active E&O insurance, but many agents aren't aware of the details and how it works. Today, we have Amanda Walker-Groff joining us, the Senior Claims Representative with us from Rice Insurance Services Centers, who provides Iowa Real Estate Commission's group insurance policy to answer our most common questions. Good morning, Amanda.
Good morning, Kayla.
Thank you so much for joining us on this Monday after New Year's. We appreciate you being with us so early in the morning. Can you introduce yourself and a little bit about your background?
Yes, absolutely. I am one of the adjusters here at Rice, and I have been with Rice for 2 years now. Prior to that, I was at a small law firm doing civil litigation for about 10 years. I am one of 8 adjusters here at Rice now. And Rice we're unique in that we issue the policies to the licensees, but we also adjust the claims that come in under that E&O policy.
Okay, perfect. So that gives us a little bit of information on what Rice is and what makes them different in the marketplace. What is a quick overview on what E&O insurance is? I know that many agents have it, carry it, renew it every year, but we may not know what it is and what it entails and why we have it.
Yes, E&O insurance is errors and omissions insurance. It is generally a professional liability or a malpractice insurance policy, and typically covers claims made against real estate licensees that allege negligence in the performance or failure to perform their professional services as an agent or a broker.
And why is it so important for agents to carry it and keep it active?
Well, you can do everything right in a transaction as a real estate agent or a broker, but you still could find yourself having a claim made against you. And if it's a lawsuit, your insurance will hire defense counsel for you and pay the legal fees for that attorney to defend you. And even if that attorney could ultimately get you dismissed later on in the litigation on some motion, you're talking tens of thousands in legal fees that your insurance will cover for you. And mistakes happen. So if you do make an error as a real estate agent or a broker, that is what your insurance is for. And those mistakes can at times be very costly. So when your insurance picks up coverage for that and the damages alleged in that particular claim are pretty high, your insurance will ultimately pay out to resolve that claim against you.
And the National Association of Realtors has reported that nationally, the real estate errors and omissions insurance claims are at the highest levels in 12 years due to the increased market activity. Have you been seeing an uptick in claims recently yourself?
We have. Like I said, I've been with Rice for 2 years now, and I don't have the numbers for last year, but I can tell you the claims were extensive last year. Rice does typically average 1,000 new claim files a year. And so I don't know how much higher it was last year. I don't have those numbers yet, but yes, I personally have noticed a large increase in the number of claims that I've adjusted last year.
Wow, that seems like a lot.
Yeah.
Can you give a few examples of what might constitute a claim and what might be covered under this policy?
Yes. So a lot of it really depends how your particular policy defines a claim. But just in general, if you get something in writing, it can be a text message, an email, it can be a formal letter from either a claimant, a disgruntled, party to the transaction or their attorney, a lawsuit, a real estate commission complaint alleging some type of negligence or error in your professional services as an agent or broker and seeking damages. The Rice policy defines a claim as a written allegation alleging negligence in professional services and seeking damages. Most policies are very similar to that. Typically, the main requirement for the Rice policy is that it's a written allegation, not a verbal allegation that, hey, agent, you did something wrong and I'm going to sue you. It needs to be in writing. And that may differ from, with other policies, but even a text message, most agents don't know that under the Rice policy, if they get a text message from, a disgruntled buyer saying, hey, we think you didn't help us with this transaction, properly, or you breached your duties in some way and we want you to pay us some money, that could be a claim and probably is under the Rice policy.
That's really good to know that a text message qualifies as well for in writing. I know that in real estate, when we're practicing our contracts and stuff, anything in writing obviously has more validity than verbal communication. So what happens when a claim is made against an agent or broker, and how does that process kind of work from filing to the processing of it?
Sure. And again, each reporting process may differ with other policies, but generally what you would do is, now Rice has available, and I'm sure probably other carriers have this as well, a form online. It's a notice of claim form. It asks for basic information regarding the transaction, the parties involved on either side of the transaction, the name of the claimant or the person making the claim against you, and you attach whatever writing it is that is the claim. It could be the text message, the lawsuit, the letter, the real estate commission complaint, whatever it is. You could call your carrier if you're unsure of what their particular process is and ask them, hey, I think I may have a claim. What do I need to do? But with the Rice policy, we do have available on our website a notice of claim form, but you could always call us. One of our adjusters could answer any questions about whether something may qualify as a claim and advise the licensee on how to report that to us.
That's really good to know that, you guys are easy to reach, but also there's an online form for that as well. So I know we always hope that things are covered. What happens if a claim is denied coverage? And what are some of the reasons why something might be denied and not covered under a policy?
Sure. And it's always best, even if you think something may be denied, to go ahead and report it anyway. Let us or your carrier, whoever that may be, review it for coverage first to ultimately determine whether or not something will be covered. If it's not covered and it's, let's say, a lawsuit, each jurisdiction differs. So you're going to have a certain amount of time before you have to respond and file an answer to that complaint. So you would want to reach out to a local real estate attorney or talk to your broker about who it is the firm may use as an attorney for a referral. You'll want to get representation right away so that you make sure you're following any of the court deadlines that are in place. If it's a real estate commission complaint, they have a very short turnaround on filing an answer. Usually it's 10 days from the date you receive that complaint. It's very short. You don't have to have an attorney to respond to that, but you certainly can. Some of the biggest reasons we see claims being denied under our policy is late reporting. All insurance policies have reporting deadlines. Our deadline for reporting real estate commission complaints is 20 days. It's very short, much shorter than reporting other types of claims just because of the short deadline we have in responding to the commission. All policies are going to have some type of reporting deadline and requirement. If you miss that, you're not going to have coverage. Another reason is not having the type of endorsements potentially that you may need for whatever particular activity it is you're doing as a real estate agent. If you are buying properties and then reselling them, that would not be covered under a RICE policy or maybe other types of E&O policies if you don't have an endorsement to cover that particular activity. Property management is another activity that would be covered potentially under the RICE policy, but maybe not other policies if you did not have an endorsement for that. So make sure whatever you're doing as a real estate agent, review your policy and make sure it covers the activities that you're actually performing.
So the activities, the endorsements, and the deadlines within the policies are something to kind of compare when you're shopping around yearly. What are some other, like some of the big major points that people might want to pay attention to when they're kind of examining the differences of policies and different carriers?
Yes. Well, first of all, again, make sure that if you are, flipping homes and buying and selling properties that you have a personal interest in or an ownership interest in, review whether or not the basic policy covers that, or if there's an endorsement that you can purchase with the RICE policy. There are multiple conditions under that endorsement that have to be met for coverage to apply. And if you don't meet every one of those conditions, coverage will not apply under that endorsement. So read carefully if you purchase an endorsement, make sure you follow all of the conditions and meet those conditions. The other thing is take a look at your limits of liability. The basic policy in Iowa for under the, with the RICE policy is $100,000 per claim. If you're dealing in properties that are high dollar properties, you may want an endorsement to increase those limits of liability. You should also take a look at whether or not there are any deductibles that you would have to meet in order for your insurance to either pay for defense costs for an attorney or to pay out on a claim. Under the RICE policy in Iowa, we do not have a deductible for either. So if a claim's made against you and it's covered and reported to us timely, and we pay out, on a claim to settle it, and we hire an attorney to defend the agent, there's not a deductible. They don't have to pay anything for either us hiring an attorney or settling the claim on their behalf.
Those are some really good points and benefits of going with RICE as well. Well, I think we've covered a lot of E&O insurance. I know I myself have learned a lot. A lot of agents probably just renew it every year knowing they have to, but don't know the details of why we have it, what it covers, and how to move forward with a claim if something does arise. So this has been really beneficial for our members. We have a question from our Facebook user here. If someone doesn't have any endorsements, does that mean they're not going to be covered? But as long as they have that base coverage.
Yes, the basic coverage in the RICE policy covers claims alleging negligence in the performance or failure to perform professional services. So that basic policy is going to cover those types of claims. If you are undertaking other activities as a real estate agent that may not fit within the basic policy, those endorsements would be available to you. So we've got the higher limits endorsement. We've got the residential personal interest coverage endorsement, which would cover, flipping properties, so long as every one of those conditions are met. But if you have the basic policy, you're still going to have insurance for your activities as a real estate agent.
Great. That's a perfect clarification to make, that the endorsements are an add-on to the basic coverage that we're required to have.
Absolutely.
Perfect. Well, I think that was a great overview of errors and omissions insurance, especially very timely coming in the new year, since many agents have just renewed their policy for another time period. We really appreciate you joining us and helping us here in the Iowa City Association kind of get educated on why we have things and what resources are available.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, Kayla. And if anyone is insured with us or is thinking about getting insured with us, there is an adjuster always available to answer any coverage questions that you may have. If you think you might have a claim, we, are happy to answer any questions or walk you through that process.
Perfect. Thank you, Amanda, for joining us in the new year. We wish you all the best in 2022. And thank you to all of our viewers who have joined in live or might be watching the rebroadcast. We hope you have an amazing week.
Thank you, Kayla.
Bye-bye.
Bye.